I'm interested in modernism, and I'm studying modernism both in Yiddish and in the Anglo-American novel and other European novels, but particularly Anglo-American. And I see this strange thing happening to the novel as we move into modernism. And it's the transformation that we basically call modernism, whether it is experimental modes of writing, or a different set of concerns, or post-World War I anomie and a sense of the atomized individual. But strange things are happening to the fictional world of George Eliot, and I want to understand these things better. And so that moment of changing from an essentially 19th century consciousness to an essentially 20th century consciousness, that fascinated me. And that is what I wanted to really focus on. And so the first book that I wrote, which actually was not my dissertation, and I can loop back and talk about the dissertation a little bit if you'd like, but the first book that I wrote, that now I have the manuscript complete and it's under publisher's review, and I hope that, you know, God willing, a year from now it will be a book, but it really entertains this question of what happened to the novel. And I propose that we look at it in terms of a genre, and that we see the dominance throughout the 19th century, and certainly the origins of the Yiddish novel in the Bildungsroman, the story of moral development or of the protagonist's education. And then, as a kind of counter trend to that in the 20th century, this other kind of novel that I claim is a revisiting and a refurbishing of the Picaresque. And the Picaresque comes to us originally as a form of the Spanish Golden Age. So it originally comes out of 16th century Spain, and it is marked by first-person narration by a protagonist who is socially marginal. He's kind of at the outskirts of his society. And then the really novel thing about the Picaresque is that the narration takes place episodically, so that something happens and then something else happens, and the causal link between the first event and the second may be unclear or may be tenuous. And what I realized is that for a lot of Yiddish authors, this was the perfect vehicle for talking about the modern Jewish condition in Europe. It is a magnificent vehicle for talking about an essentially chaotic society that doesn't feel linear, where it doesn't feel like if you take the next logical step and educate yourself, you can become a mensch. Maybe you can't become a mensch. Maybe certain social possibilities are foreclosed to you by virtue of being Jewish, by being young, by being urban, by being alienated. And so I decided to really look closely at the development of this modern and modernist Yiddish Picaresque.